We need to be able to execute the fundamentals on offense, defense, and special teams.
They're going to run a fake, and Rutgers is not fooled. It's blocked. They've done it again.
And then do it over and over and over again.
They're coming. It's blocked.
Because the team that does it better is usually the team that wins.
Live from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison, this is the Kyle Flood Show. Your chance to talk with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. The Kyle Flood Show is also brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by Pepsi. Live in the moment. The beat starts at Pepsi.com. Pepsi, live for now. To be part of the show, call 855-FLOOD-44. That's 855-356-6344. Now, let's go live to Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison. Here's the voice of the Scarlet Knights, Chris Carlin.
Chris Carlin off here on this Wednesday evening. Mark Malusis filling in. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, Associate Head Coach Norris Wilson with us. Let's hear it here at beautiful Edison, New Jersey, and Quaker Steak and Lube. All the Scarlet Knight fans in attendance, you can hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio or the phone number 855-FLOOD-44. We'll take some questions from the studio audience as well. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you tonight, Mark?
Doing really well, Coach. Doing really well. And more specifically, how's the team doing? Following a game and a performance, Penn State 28-3 loss in Happy Valley on Saturday night.
Team was good today. They came out and they put in a good day's work at practice. I've seen a lot of kids on their own time, back in the back, watching film together and trying to get an edge on this week's game plan. So I think they flushed the last game and they focused on Kansas.
What's your message, Coach, to the team after a loss like that in the locker room when it's still fresh and everything? How do you come into the team and try to talk to them?
I told them exactly what we talk about all the time about what it takes to win a football game. We didn't stop the run and we didn't run the ball well. We turned the ball over and we didn't get turnovers. And those things, no matter who you're playing, are going to keep you from winning football games. You have to not shoot yourself in the foot, not turn the ball over, not have unforced errors as far as penalties. You got to be able to protect the passer. You got to make the first tacklers got to make tackles. And we talked about those things right after the game was over, and then we came back and we started focusing on Kansas.
Coach, I loved your presser on Saturday night. We joked around it before the start of the game, but I was back in the studio in New York City, and I loved it personally. I don't understand the flack that you're getting because the spot that you're in, you have experience at Columbia as a head coach, but to be put in this position here with this program, this organization, and everything that's surrounded, it's a difficult spot to all of a sudden step in and become the head coach, the interim head coach for Kyle Flood.
Yes, it is.
Yes. That was a statement, not much of a question.
My wife's a big Red Sox fan, and I just told her right then, that was kind of just Manny being Manny. I only know how to be me, and it was not in my intent to offend anyone. I just went in and
you were yourself.
I was myself.
I got to ask, Coach, do you remember most of the names that everyone that was asking you questions?
I don't, and that's why I hadn't been around them. That's not something that we do as assistant coaches. So I wanted to know who I was talking to and where they were from and who they were representing, and make sure people from their media and our media had an opportunity to speak, and make sure there weren't people closed out and going away angry. So there was a reason why I did it, but that reason wasn't to push anybody off or put anybody off.
Coach, after you watched the game film, what bothered you most about your team's performance Saturday night?
That we got to 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and it was 7-0, and the ball started to roll against us. We had that one touchdown that made it 21-0. We didn't tackle well. We didn't run the ball well. We didn't block well up front. And with that last 5 minutes of the second quarter, that last 5 minutes of the second quarter was pivotal in how the final outcome came.
Are you the type of coach that gets right on the film after the game? Like, are you on the bus watching, or do you take some time and wait till you get back to the Hale Center and then jump on the film?
Well, I watched the film on the bus, and then when we got back to the health center about 5, I watched it again. And then when I got back to the office about 10, I watched it again. So I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, and it doesn't. Unfortunately, the outcome doesn't change. But when you watch it once and you're watching it and it's fresh off the game, there's some things that you may not see, and then you watch it a second time and you pick up some issues that may have happened or some good things that may have happened. And make no mistake about it, we lost the football game, but there were some good things that happened out there with the players that were on the field. So it wasn't all horrible, and there were some good things to build upon as we went through that tape.
The long touchdown run for Penn State, was that just a defensive breakdown, getting caught in the wrong spot? It was about a 75-yard touchdown run that really put the momentum squarely on Penn State's shoulders.
Into the second quarter?
Yes.
Yes. It was. We had a man out of place, and we weren't where we needed to be at the time, and they took advantage of it, and the young man took the ball the distance.
A lot of coaches, really believe in that philosophy that there could be 1, 2, or 3 plays that really change the game. Do you believe in that also?
I believe there are about 5 or 6 plays that dictate the outcome of the game. Now, unfortunately, you don't know which 6 plays is going to be till the end of the game. But that's why you have to play every play as hard as you can. You have to finish through the whistle. You have to be on your job on every snap, and no matter what happened to snap before, you have to play the next snap, and you got to play at full speed, and you have to do your job.
Coach, you mentioned that your team had a good practice today. Emotionally, it was a gut-wrenching loss to Washington State on the road, a rival against Penn State, and the Nittany Lions had their way. I'm curious with everything emotionally where this team is. Coach Flood talked about the fact that he thought it galvanized this group. Do you still think your team is galvanized right now?
I do. I think that each coach in his room is talking to his players. I know I'm talking to my players in my room. We came out and we had a good practice on Monday. Then we came out, just speaking of guys in my room, came out and had a good practice on Tuesday. And I sent them all a text, let them know what I thought about the practice. And then when we met this morning, I said, listen, we need to take this good feeling we're having about practice, and we need to spread it to some of these other groups.
Yeah.
And we need to go out and make sure everybody's on the game. And are you going to have a perfect practice? No, but you can practice to reach perfection. And I thought today we had a really good effort. Now, with film, it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think.
Right.
And a lot of people say, there's been many a time I've walked out the practice field and said, well, that was just horrible. And then you get in, you watch the film, and you say, you know what, that wasn't that bad.
Right.
So just got to keep working. You got to keep chopping, and you got to be on top of your business, and you got to keep demanding from the players now. You can't let up on players. Because Coach Flood told me how lazy Eric was when he was you can't let up on the players, and you got to push them, but you got to find a way to push them. Sometimes players have bad days.
Everyone has got bad days, and not every day is a great day.
Test comes up, a guy that's usually got sure hands in practice drops 2 or 3. Rob Martin, and you just got to go and just push them and find a way to talk to them. You can't. Every kid's different. You can't just yell at every kid and think he's going to respond. Some kids you got to pull close and listen and just talk in a nice soft voice.
Yeah.
And say bad things to him, but only he can hear.
There is that psychological game.
And some kids you can just say, hey, that was wrong. Let's go. You know what the right thing to do. Let's go get on your business. So you have to know your audience with each kid. And the kids have other things going. They got class going.
Sure.
And they got a test coming up, or they got to study for a big quiz, or they're struggling with getting their notes, or they lost their book bag. And these are real things for these young men. So I try to take all those things into account. I know the other assistant coaches try to take all those things into account, and we just push them to get better when we get them on the field.
I'm glad you're talking about the players, Coach. I wanted to ask you, how much do you lean on the leadership of the players, especially the veteran players, in a time like this in the locker room afterwards when you guys aren't with them?
I lean a lot on it. I have a lot of expectations from the upperclassmen that have been around, that have been in games, played in games, and we've got some younger kids that have to play right now to be able to go to those younger kids and tell them it's going to be all right. Just go out and all we need is your best. We can't ask for more than that. Mm-hmm. Just give us your best and we're going to be okay. And I think that we're getting that from Darius Hamilton, and we're getting that from Quentin Gauze, and we're getting that from Paul James, and we're getting that from Julian Penix. So if we can just get everyone that's been out there and played to just help these young guys and pull them along, we're going to be in great shape.
Coach, the return of Hamilton emotionally for that defense, what does Darius do in that room?
Darius leads. He leads vocally, and he leads by example. He's not going to ask any player on the team to do anything that he's not willing to do himself. He does not overstep his bounds. If he knows he's going to be a detriment on the field, if he's gassed and he needs to come out, he lets Coach Panagos know, hey, I need to come out. Just give me a couple plays off, let me get a drink in me, and I'm ready to go right back. He's a team-first player, and we are very fortunate to have him with us.
What type of player would you say Paul James is as a leader? Is he more of a show by example, or is he more of a vocal leader?
He's a blend of both. Few and far between are the times I'd get Paul James's name across my desk for having missed something. He's going to be on time. He's willing to lead. If he gets pulled out, he's not going to pout about it. He's going to cheer for the next guy that's gone in for him. And I'm really fortunate to have been around Paul. This is now my 4th year around him, and I'm really happy and I've enjoyed the 4 years I've had with him.
Coach, do you think would you like to see one of the running backs? You got 3 that are very talented, establish themselves as the lead back for the Scarlet Knights?
Would I want to see that? I would say a few years ago when I was coaching offensive line, I'd say yes.
Right.
I'd say now that I'm very happy with the situation that we have, and if one of them should jump out and make himself that guy, I wouldn't be upset about it.
Okay. Has anybody caught your eye about potentially taking a lead role for this team?
I think they've all been playing well.
Okay.
So I'm not ready to say, hey, you're the guy right now and go get it.
Okay.
I want to know, Coach, too, when it comes to that, how hard of it is the decision when somebody just jumps out there, or when it's that kind of close and you have to make that tough decision if somebody's going to be that guy? How hard is that on you?
It's hard, but you need to understand it's like when they got Sonny on the causeway. It's not personal. It's business.
There you go.
So you got to go and you got to explain it to the young men, and the ones that aren't chosen as the guy, their feelings are going to be hurt. But there's roles for everyone on the team, and there's opportunities for everyone on the team, and you're one hit and you're one slip in the shower of being ready to go. So you can't sulk if all of a sudden I pick you and you're the guy, the other 2 guys can't sulk and say, well, I'm not playing, I'm not going to give my best, because all of a sudden you get pink eye or you get
you never know when that opportunity's coming around.
Or you get mono, and then all of a sudden you're in there.
I'm curious, Coach, when you looked at the film, how did you think Chris Laviano played at quarterback?
I think Chris played a good football game. I think Chris needed a lot more help from the other players on the team. I think Chris needed a better effort up front.
Sure.
In the pass game, where he doesn't have to take 5 sacks and he doesn't have to get flushed out of the pocket. I think Chris needed a running game that would have garnered the attention of PSU, that would have not have allowed them to just pin their ears back and get after him. So if we're in a tighter football game and we don't have to rely on the pass as much, I think Chris would have thrived a lot better.
How is that hard on you guys then when you know you have a young quarterback in there, learning different things, he's not that experienced, and then when you got to make play calls to certain decisions, how hard does that come down on you so you can put him in the position to succeed?
It's tough at times, but Coach McDaniels does a good job giving Chris options that he can succeed at and showing him the things that he's going to need to be successful on Saturday to push the ball down the field.
On the sideline, what kind of coach are you? Well, I mean,
define it for me.
No, I mean, like, are you one where you're leaning heavily on offensive, defensive coordinator? Are you in on everything? Are you a vocal guy on the sideline? You got a big personality, Coach Wilson. So I'm curious on the sideline. What kind of head coach personality-wise are you?
I'm coaching the effort. That's all I'm coaching. As a head coach, I'm going to coach the effort. The offensive coordinator is going to run the offense. The defensive coordinator is going to run the defense. Special teams coordinator is going to run the special teams, and I'm going to coach the effort. I'm going to congratulate great effort, and I'm going to encourage less than great effort.
That's a good way to describe it.
So,
I can, and I'm sure, knowing your personality, Coach, I'm sure you like to, when you get encouraging, you've got a big, robust personality. I'm sure you can encourage quite well.
I've been known to.
Hey, Coach, I got to ask you, when you guys come out of the tunnel, I saw you had to do your pregame, like a pregame speech or a pregame interview. with the sideline reporter. How do you handle that situation? Because I thought it was fun. I know you get in your game mode, and then they come up to you with a microphone. How do you handle that?
You know, I've seen that happen during games, and I'm not a fan. I don't go down to other people's job, and right before they about to start, put a microphone in front of them. But I'll say this, you know, I said what I said, and I meant what I said. You know, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, put the ball down, and the guys in my room will be ready to play, and I love them like I love my children. And I mean that earnestly. Those guys that get an opportunity to dress out and play on Saturday, Sam and PJ and Josh and Robert and Justin, I love them like they're my children. And I don't want anything to ever happen to them. And I count on it, and they count on me, and I knew on Saturday it'd be all right, and they didn't need me hovering over them. So.
Before we look ahead, Coach, and take our first break, and you can hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio. Give us a call, 855-FLOOD-44. We'll take some questions from the audience here at Quaker Steak and Lube as well. I want to ask you, how's Coach Flood doing with everything? You know how he's around the team but watching his team perform on Saturday night. How's Coach Flood doing?
Coach Flood's doing good. All things considered, I've said it before. He gets out of the same side of the bed every day.
Sure.
You know, a meteor could hit his truck, and he'd come in and he'd tell us something positive, and he's going to drive the team forward and have a positive message for the team for the day about being 1-0 on the day and working to be 1-0 at the end of the week. I know it had to be very difficult for him to sit and watch his team play and not be there with him. That would be gut-wrenching for anyone. But he wants for these young men in this football program to drive forward and be 1-0 this week, and that's where his focus is. Helping whatever he can do to help the team be 1-0 on Saturday is where Coach Flood's focus is right now.
Complete focus.
And how much has your schedule changed now since in a week or so? You know, from going you were right now, you probably will be inside watching the film, and now you're here with us.
Exactly. Right now, on a Wednesday night, I'd be watching film and getting ready for practice tomorrow, or putting the cut up together, or put a blitz reel together, or put all the bloopers from practice together that we could have done better. But I'm here, and I'm enjoying a drink, and I'm with some good people, and I'll get that stuff done. I got it done a little bit earlier tonight, so I don't have to go back and get it done tonight, and I'm ready for practice tomorrow. But it's different having to go and meet with people after practice, and Coach and Hasim, they kind of just like to just spring it on me at the last minute. Oh, by the way, you're meeting with the media after practice. Oh, by the way, at 3 o'clock you got the media, and then at 12:56 you got the Big Ten conference call. And so I'm sure there'll be something tomorrow on Go Home Early Thursday where I won't get to go home early. So.
We're being joined by Associate Head Coach, Interim Head Coach Norris Wilson. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand. We're here in beautiful Edison, New Jersey. Quaker Steak and Lube. You can hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio, or give us a call, 855-FLOOD-44. We'll look ahead to the Kansas game. We'll do that next. This is the Kyle Flood Show.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
At AT&T, we're all about the perks, like getting $300 credit per line when you switch to AT&T with a smartphone trade-in and purchase of any smartphone on AT&T Next. That's 3 perks in 1. Get all the perks when you switch to the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Limited time. Each $300 requires a porting, eligible purchase, activation, and trade-in. $100 bill credit within 90 days. $200 trade-in credit or promo card. Taxes, fees, restrictions apply. Claim based only on national carriers' average 4G LTE signal strength. See store for details.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Thanks to Mountain Dew Kickstart, 3 bros are about to become more than just a bunch of couch brotatoes. The energizing blast of dew and juice is entering their mouths. Soon they'll be sliding across the dance floor as if it was strewn with appeals of bro-nanas. Then this trio of bromios will recite sweet broetry into the ears of any dame that will listen. These guys are bro-fessionals. Let's do this. We're coming, world. It all starts with a kick. Mountain Dew Kickstart with dew, juice, and just the right amount of kick. Now available in 6 flavors that taste good.
Hey, Rutgers season ticket holders, are you tired of sitting on those hard bleachers with no back support? Then we have a deal for you. For a limited time, you can reserve a night cushion for only $60 for the season. That's less than $9 a game. Permanently attached to your ticket location, night cushions provide padded comfort for your back and bottom that's second to none. So don't wait. Visit nightcushion.com. That's nightcushion with a K.com. Or call 800-729-0445 to reserve today.
Welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, associate head coach, interim head coach. Norris Wilson is obviously joining us. Hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio or give us a call, 855-FLOOD-44. Coach, we do have a question via Twitter, and that comes from a Scarlet Knight fan by the name of Chris, who asks us, Coach, you say every position is up for grabs but refuse to change the quarterback. How come?
I never said I refuse to change the quarterback, and I never said that every position was up for grabs. I say each position is evaluated each week, and we're going to put the best players on the field that we think that are going to give us the best opportunity to win the football game. And that's where we are, not just with the quarterback position, but with every position on the team.
I'm glad you said every position on the team, Coach. So when it comes down to week, picking maybe going up against a different scheme, does that pick sometimes against a different player, or just changing the game plan up so that person can fit the scheme the right way that you want them to?
And it can be a mixture of both. If someone's going to serve us better in a role, we would be remiss if we didn't put that person in. And as you play against different schemes on offense or defense, you're going to put the people in. If you're playing a team that's going to play four wides, you're not going to play base personnel all the time. You're going to play nickel. That doesn't mean you don't love your Sam Backer, but you got to get
exactly.
But you got to put another DB or two on the field. So it's not personal. It's not about we don't like a person, so we're not going to play him. We evaluate these players. We watch the film constantly and run it back over and see if they've topped out, if someone behind them pushing them to get better. And young men get better. Young men can come in and say, okay, I'm not ready to go when the season starts, but by the end of the season, I'm ready to play. And a great example of that is Rob Martin and Josh Hicks are the same two guys they were when they got here last year.
Okay.
They weren't ready to play when we went to play Navy, and they weren't ready to play when we went to play Washington State. They could run down on kickoff because you could tell them one thing to do. They could catch a ball and run up the field, but they didn't know all the pass protections. But as the season went on, these two young men, as they learned more, and I weaned them away from me standing next to the huddle and just let them go and develop as players on their own. They got to the point where the head coach and I were comfortable with them starting the football game because they had enough information to just survive out there and not put the team in a bad situation. And we do that constantly with the young guys coming up and with the old guys that are playing. Not that they're old chronologically, but they've been around. And let them know that, hey, look, you got this young guy behind you pushing you. You got to stay on top of your game. And they see it themselves when they watch the film.
Coach, when two units, have you seen through 3 games? The secondary, very young, and the offensive line, you talked about establishing the ground game, helping out Chris Laviano at quarterback. What about those 2 units right now? Have you seen the progression week in and week out from the secondary and from the offensive line?
I can speak more on the offensive line because I'm with them all the time, and I've just been recently, taking a good look at what's going on defense. The offensive line is coming along. We would love it to come along faster.
Sure.
And Coach Browning and Coach McDaniels are always on top of them about what we're doing and why we are trying to do it. We're not just handing them information without giving them the why this is important. And when you look at the left guard, if you look at Dorian Miller is playing really good football right now. Mm-hmm. And you look at Derek Nelson is playing some really good football. And we had an injury at right guard, and when we put Marcus Applefield out there, and he went out there and he competed his tail off. He got a battlefield promotion, and he ran out there on the field, and he competed his butt off. John Denman at right tackle, he's played against some good players this past Saturday.
Sure, he did.
He played against the Nasib kid's a good player. And he got beat some and he won some. And Keith Lumpkin's been around since the last ice age. So we expect him to do it right every time he's out there.
And, Coach, during the season, it's hard to get those reps in. So how important are those little reps that they get, during team periods? 4 plays for the starters, 5 sometimes for the 2s. How important and how pivotal are those reps?
It's important. We only get so many hours and you only get so many reps, and you try not to run it back. And it's important to get them down and to get them right. Get them right. That's why you meet. That's why you have individual to work out the crinkles. And then when you get to the team period, you want it to be pressed and ready to go.
855-FLOOD-44, the number to call. Let's head to the phone lines. Let's welcome aboard Nick in Greenbrook, who's up next on the Kyle Flood Show. Nick, Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, and Coach Wilson with you. What's on your mind, bud?
Hi, Coach. I would like to know, why did you not change quarterbacks when you have a late deficit, and why not give Reddick a try?
So he wants to, Nick, thanks a lot for the call. Why not give Hayden Reddick an opportunity?
He's speaking on the game on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I didn't feel at the time that it was the time to pull Chris from the game and to put Hayden in. I am not saying that Hayden Reddick's not a good player, and I'm not saying that Hayden Reddick isn't ready to play. What I'm saying is that in that situation on Saturday night, when we were playing that, I felt that we needed Chris out there leading the team, so I left him in the game.
So, Coach, people are always going to ask, how come you didn't pull this guy? How come you didn't pull that guy? In certain situations of the game, do you think those people that are out there playing like Chris, gaining game experience, will help him in the future?
Definitely. There's no experience that can be imitated other than game experience. You can show a lot of things in practice, but being out there in a game, being out there in a 2-minute drill, being out there in a 2-minute drill with 7 minutes on the clock, which is different than an in-the-game situation. So, it was good work for him, and we weren't out there just practicing. We were out there trying to get points on the board and try to climb back in the game.
Coach, let's head back to the call line. Eric from Fords is up next. What's going on, Eric?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, Eric.
What's going on?
I just want to touch on what the last caller said. I mean, they're asking about the quarterbacks. I think, Coach, at this level, you guys are trying to win the game, and I think most fans understand you're going to play whoever it is, the best player you think is going to help you win the game, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. And what do you think about Kansas? I know, it's a non-conference game. As a Rutgers fan, I don't know if we've ever played them. What have you seen from them? Like, what kind of game do you expect Saturday?
Eric, thanks a lot for the call.
I think Kansas is 0-2, but I look at the film and they've got some good players. They're athletic on the defensive line. They do a great job in pass rush. I'm looking at the stats here that they've
Keon Kinner can run the ball.
No, they can run the ball at quarterback and they can run the ball at tailback. They're averaging 239 yards a game on the ground. So it's going to be a great test for our front seven, for our D-line and our linebackers to hold the point and to make tackles. The quarterback is a legitimate threat to make plays with his feet. And they got a couple guys that can rush the passer. So if we get in pass situations, we're going to have to be stout and to be able to pass off twist. And they don't do a bunch of pressuring so far, but they've had a week off and maybe they've installed a pressure or two just for us. I know sometimes defenses do that. So I think that we shouldn't just look at their record and think that they're a slouch. We should see that they're the opponent we're playing this week, and we need to go out and be prepared for anything that comes out of that tunnel on Saturday and get after them.
And Rutgers is known for on defense stopping the run. Is there anything that you emphasize in practice more, especially knowing what the quarterback and running back can do for Kansas on stopping the run?
Well, Coach Rossi is always, and Coach Frazier and the entire defensive staff, for that matter, are always emphasizing, make sure that your run fits right. Because if someone's run fits, if we got two guys in the same gap, we got a problem.
Yep.
So we got to make sure all the gaps are taken care of. And, when you got a zone read team that's playing fast and you got to get your defense lined up and the calls have to be simplified a little bit, everyone has to be on point with what's called. It can't be I thought. It can't be I forgot. You got to get the call, play the call, and make sure you're in the right spot doing your job. And that's what stops the run. You got to get up, and the first tackler's got to tackle. You can't have can't have missed tackles. You get an opportunity to make a tackle, you got to get the guy down, and everybody else has to rally to the ball carrier.
Coach, when you look at Kansas, first-year head coach David Beatty, I think they've lost 30 straight games on the road. They're 12-50 in their last 62 games. You look at a program in a state of change, certainly under a first-year head coach, and a team that starts this year 0-2. Does that raise your antenna as a coach where expect anything on Saturday against your squad, where they're a desperate bunch looking to try and find a way to win a game?
I wouldn't say desperate, but they're going to go out and do whatever they can to win the football game, and that raises my antenna. I'm sure that Coach Beatty's going to try to do things the way he thinks the right way is to do them, as far as installing things and attacking teams on offense and defense. But they've done some really good things on offense.
You've been impressed with what you've seen on film, despite the 0-2 mark.
Correct. I've been impressed with what I've seen on film from them, yes.
Have you been on coaching staffs before when your backs are against the wall and you're going to throw anything out there just to pretty much keep your job, and going to coach against that? How hard is it difficult to coach against somebody just like that? With the program, everything that's going on, they're doing anything to win.
Well, I won't say it's hard to coach against them. You just have to be aware of the situation that you're playing in that moment in the game and what could happen to you. I think the rules that you have on offense and defense as far as your assignments take care of a lot of things, and you got to be ready to make adjustments if something's thrown at you that you didn't see on the film previously.
Welcome inside Quaker Steak and Lube, Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, Associate Head Coach, Interim Coach Norris Wilson, obviously here. You can hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio, on the phone line, 855-FLOOD-44. We'll delve more into the Kansas game. Plenty of things to get into. Your interaction via social media, phone calls, any questions from the audience here at Quaker Steak and Lube as well. We'll get to all that next, right here on the Kyle Flood Show.
Consider the cup holder. There's probably one feeling empty next to you right now. No Pepsi, no hope. Just look at it, won't you? All across the country, cup holders are being neglected. Instead of Pepsi, they're being filled with loose change or crumpled up receipts. But you can help. Get a Pepsi and refresh a cup holder's life. Our thirsts are counting on it. In fact, I'm having one right now. That is refreshing. Pepsi, refresh yourself. Refill your cup holder.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
You know where to tune in for the game, but do you know how to bring the game home to you? When it comes to commemorating the experience, IMGProducts.net has you covered. IMGProducts.net is the place to go for official programs and yearbooks from NCAA championships, conference tournaments, and many of the nation's top universities. Relive games and championships for years to come with quality programs containing stats, behind-the-scenes stories, history, and much, much more. IMGProducts.net. We've got you covered.
Looking for the best trained in the electrical business? Look no further. Our members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 456, go through a 5-year nationally recognized apprenticeship program along with OSHA safety certifications, producing the best trained and most up-to-date electricians in the area. Fiber optics, high voltage, lighting retrofits, solar energy, healthcare facilities, school construction, data centers. We do it all. We are also proud to be one of the first building trades locals to be recognized with a drug-free workplace program. We at Local Union 456 are like Coach Flood and the Scarlet Knights, trained and proven to get the job done.
Welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube, Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Coach Norris Wilson. Hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio. Number to call, 855-FLOOD-44. And now we're now being joined by Rutgers Athletic Director Julie Herman, who joins us now. How are you doing, Julie?
I'm great. Good to see you, Moose.
Good to see you as well. And Coach is doing a great job. He's asking me each and every segment, how's he going? I mean, this guy's got such a robust personality. He's doing such a fantastic job.
Honestly, I could not be prouder of
Why do
Coach
you give
Wilson.
me that look? Why do you give me that look?
No look.
He's done a great job. This is one of the brightest, most authentic, most playful, hilarious humans you'll ever meet. And I couldn't be prouder of him.
He's a good man. He really is.
He took control of that press conference, and I couldn't be prouder of him.
I enjoyed it. I really did. Big things this weekend. Talk a little bit about homecoming.
Super excited about homecoming.
Yeah.
Super excited about all the events on campus that lead up to it, and really excited to have our Hall of Fame class coming in this weekend.
Hall of Fame class, Keith Cromwell, 1990 men's soccer team that went to the Final Four. Fred Hill, Dick Lloyd, Gary Brackett, former Indianapolis Colts Super Bowl champ as well. That was a great linebacker for the Scarlet Knights. Great Hall of Fame class this weekend that will be honored.
What a great class. A chance to honor them on the field in the middle of a victory. No pressure, Coach.
No pressure.
What is homecoming on the campus? What does that mean to you, Julie?
Scores of events and a chance for Rutgers. Rutgers has 450,000 living alumni, and so it's a chance to come back and coalesce, shouldn't say too many big words,
right,
around our campus and to celebrate all things Rutgers. We're heading into our 250th year as a campus, which is amazing. And so the chance to celebrate our history and do it around a football game, great opportunity for everybody who cares about Rutgers.
I mean, everyone loves homecoming. I mean, when I was in homecoming's a fantastic weekend. There's no question. And there's big things going on campus as well. Talk a little bit about the Fred Hill complex.
Well, how fun to induct Fred Hill when we finally got to announce that we're building, for the first time in really decades, we're able to build a building that our donors wrote 100% of the checks for.
Right.
So we've raised $3 million to build a 22,000 square foot indoor training facility for baseball and softball. So our baseball and softball now have the ability to train in an indoor practice facility, infield facility, and a batting and pitching cages. And so, because in the past they've been training in the back corners of the rack, so they've got to wait for basketball to finish,
right,
for them to get in there. And then, of course, January, February, while all the other teams out south or down south are already playing outside, they're in the back corners of the rack. So this is a chance to actually go live in December, January, and February, dramatically do a lift, and I could not be more grateful to the donors of Rutgers, because we had a lot of people who wrote huge checks for this, and then we had a lot of people who wrote 50s and 100s, and we got there. And so we have a chance to build.
And that's great for the student athlete to have those kind of facilities. I mean, Coach, in order to, continue to build up that program or whatever, athletic endeavor it is, to have the facilities, the train, that's important for the student athlete.
Well, it's game changing, because when you're trying to schedule 2 basketball teams and also a baseball softball team in the back corners, you have timing issues. So, and just trying to schedule classes becomes an issue when you're doing that around that. So finally, they get to control their academic schedules a whole lot better, because now they can train whenever they need to train.
How about any on the horizon? More facilities on the horizon?
Lots of new facilities on the horizon.
What do we got?
And so as you saw in end of June, Dr. Barchi came out with the entire university master plan that included our chapter. And we know in that chapter we now have a chance to blow out our football complex and really do it right at the highest possible level in a facility that will compete in the Big Ten. And we've got a multi-sport complex attached to the RAC Center that will not only solve our issues for basketball, but they'll also solve the issues for our women's sports. So we have a chance to put over 10,000 square feet in there for women, which really solves a lot of our Title IX issues. So I've had the privilege of building over $500 million worth of facilities, what we accomplished at Louisville. I've never seen a master building plan that is this efficient, that provides this level of state-of-the-art facilities for our student athletes. So this plan is incredibly efficient. We've got a lot of momentum on it, and we're super excited about it.
I didn't know about it. The band, before I talked to Tom before how about the 100th anniversary of the Rutgers band? I mean, that's as good as it
100
gets.
years of band.
That's great.
And
they got new uniforms and everything.
Our fundraising unit, Sarah Baumgartner's here tonight, and Sarah's team fundraised the new uniforms. So you see the new uniforms they have out there. They've got 240 strong.
Yeah.
So the composition of the band is bigger and stronger than ever before, and they've gone big in the Big Ten, and we could not be more proud of our marching band.
Well, Julie, thank you for joining us this evening here at Quaker State. Have a wonderful homecoming weekend.
Thanks, Moose. Go get him, Coach.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll continue. We'll do that next. Hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio, 855-FLOOD-44. We'll be rejoined by Eric LeGrand as well. This is The Kyle Flood Show.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
Hey, Chris Carlin here, and as the voice of your Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I see the fans' passion for our hometown team come to life every Saturday in the fall. UPS shares this same passion for helping businesses turn a challenge into a solution, because they're not just in the shipping business, they're in the problem-solving business. Visit ups.com/solvers to see how UPS can help your team find the winning formula. UPS, official logistics company of Rutgers Athletics.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
This commercial is brought to you by Brother International, the makers of fax, printers, multifunction printers, scanners, sewing and embroidery machines. Brother is always at your side.
You can make business cards with your name, print from hiking, hang and frame, sew some shades, block the sun, keep out creepy peeping toms. With Brother at your side, always good times. You got a brother at your side, and whatever follows always ends up in good times. Basket cover for your cat, another for his brother, so they both match. No more mess, make the best label on relieve that stress. Brother's always undercover and always around. 106 years, better keep on counting. You got a brother at your side, and whatever follows always ends up in good time. With the brother at your side, with the brother at your side.
Welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube, beautiful Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show, being joined by Associate Head Coach, Interim Head Coach Norris Wilson, Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand with you. And Coach, we delved a little bit into Kansas, got a quick tweet for you in terms of how do you deal with their, and Eric asked you the question before, but how do you deal with the running back, the quarterback for Kansas, their ability to run the football defensively and maintaining position? I would imagine going out there and not maintaining your lane that you're in, but how do you deal with the running game for the Jayhawks?
Well, the first thing you have to do is relax, and the film doesn't lie. There's tendencies in everyone's film.
Okay.
So the defensive staff, it breaks the film down, and they look at it, and they look at the formations, and the players run out of the formations, and they look at the routes run, who the guys catching the ball, and who's the quarterback going to in this coverage, and how's the blocking scheme adjusting to this front. And they come up with a plan on how to best attack the Kansas offense, and they stick with the plan. And if they need to make adjustments, they make adjustments, and you have to forecast a little bit and play a little chess with the guy before the pieces are on the board and say they could do this and how are we going to counter it. And sometimes you have to be an end game with them and say, okay, they're doing it different now because of what we've done. So let's make this adjustment and let's shut off this faucet before it starts to flood on us.
What stands out to you really on the Kansas defensive side?
Pass rush. They got a couple players that can pass rush. When they come in and nickel and they do a good job with it. They don't play three backers. They play 5 DBs. So their Sam Backer's really a DB that can run around and be in coverage and also help support in the run. And if they can get you in a must-pass situation, or if you drop back to pass, you got to be able to hold up against a couple guys on the edge that have speed and have athleticism.
Coach, take us. I mean, I've never been in that room, right? You have been in the room, Eric. But are you a fire and brimstone kind of a coach before the game in terms of a pep talk? What kind of you lean on? Where do you, personality-wise, in that room right before the start of a game? Take us, Rutgers fans, into that room. What do you like?
Well, it depends on the situation, and you have to get a feel for what you think the team needs. If they need you to come in and be a hype man for them, you got to be a hype man for them.
Right.
And if they need you to, hopefully you don't have to light a fire on anyone.
Okay.
If you have to light a fire onto someone, then you might have a long day. So you want the kids to come out of the tunnel ready to play, jacked up to get on the field and put the ball down, and let's find out who the better team on that day is. So you gather that information through your Friday night process, through your game day process before you get into the locker room, and you can get a feel when you look around at the faces at what you need to say to them. You've already have in the back of your mind what you want to say. You just got to decide how you're going to say it.
And Coach, I always wonder, after the Scarlet Walk, everyone comes into plays, they get dressed, go to the training room, get taped up, head down to the field. Some of them go through the pregame warm-ups. What do the coaches do? Like, what do you do when you come in from the Scarlet Walk and you guys go into your locker room? You have any rituals that you go through every game?
I've never taken the Scarlet Walk.
See, there you
so
go.
this Saturday will be my first.
It's great.
Scarlet Walk. So the players come in and they get ready to go. But when I get to the stadium, there's coaches that want to go get 20, 30-minute workout in, just to get the blood flowing a little bit. I usually come in and there's a chair that I sit in, and I just sit there and think about what I forgot, what did I forget to do, try to go through a mental checklist. And, there's always at home games, there are recruits that you got to go see. What am I going to do when I go down to warm my guys up before we come out for the pregame deal? What kids do I have to see in recruiting? Am I going to come back up or stay down? Do I think I need my raincoat? And I just try to get all the crap out of my mind, so when I get time to kick the ball off, I'm just going to focus in on the game and be ready to go.
Coach, what does homecoming mean to you? This weekend for this program, what does that weekend mean for you?
Homecoming means we got a football game.
Yeah, I understand that.
And my focus is on that. As a high school player and as a college football player and as a coach, I've never had an opportunity to go through any of those rituals. So we always had a football game, and in high school, of course, you had a dance after. But I've never been to a bonfire and for a college homecoming. For me, it's always been, hey, listen, let's go out.
Time to play.
Let's go out and play this game, and these people that are good enough to come out and cheer for us, let's try to send them home as happy as we can.
Hey, yeah, Mark, I actually got a question for you. As Coach just said, we never really get to experience homecoming because we always got a football game going on.
Yeah.
What's your favorite homecoming ritual for anything that you've ever been through?
Well, in Syracuse.
Can you say it on the radio?
I don't know if I could say a total story. But when I went to college, homecoming was basically you had a big party the night before. Everyone enjoyed themselves. I mean, and sometimes family would come up and everything like that for that weekend. I mean, it's a great traditional weekend across the country, regardless of what university you're at. I mean, it really is. And this weekend, a great Hall of Fame class and having a former Scarlet Knight linebacker in Gary Brackett, who did tremendous things not only here at this university, but also in the National Football League and won a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts, a deserved honor. No doubt.
Absolutely. Gary Brackett's, I've gotten to meet him one time when he came around the program, and just hearing him around when I was playing here, everything that he's done is coming on as a walk-on, then as a captain, leading the captain, then seeing him as a Super Bowl captain, winning the Super Bowl. That just shows you that, if you work hard, anything is truly possible.
Keep chopping that wood. Coach, we got a question for you. Yes, sir.
Coach Wilson, on Saturday, we didn't see a whole lot of the vertical passing game, and I was curious, what you attribute that to. Is that a matter of their defensive backfield taking that away? Is it, not giving Laviano enough protection? Or is it just being conservative? And, what you attribute the pass game to, and do you think we'll see more of the vertical passing game coming this Saturday?
We went into the game last week knowing that they were going to make sure that no one got behind them. That was their one of their mantras on defense, is they were going to play coverages where they kept the safeties deep, make sure no one got behind them. So we didn't have a lot of things to try to go over the top with plays that we thought would more than likely be dead plays. Given opportunities, we will throw the ball over the top coming this Saturday if those opportunities present themselves, and we have things of that nature in the game plan.
Is it difficult when you're looking at it, and that's where we talked about earlier on in the show, Coach, establishing that ground game early to be able to soften up that defense? Because everything works hand in hand. You need, in order to get that vertical game, the passing game going, and giving Chris the support that he needs to be able to get the aerial game going, you need to go out there and establish the run.
Well, you have to be able to run the football, and it goes hand in hand. If you got a team that's going to stack the box against you, got to be able to throw the ball also, and get that gives the run a chance. So if you can go out and run the football, it starts to bring more guys down to the box, and it starts to open up more avenues on the outside, and we would love for that to happen this Saturday.
As you're coaching at a game, do you ever think about that opportunity? Or does it come in, actually, should I say, does it come in your head a lot when I should take a shot? Or does it kind of, by the moment of the game say, oh, we should take a shot here? Or is it always something that you're in the back of your head you're thinking about, I should take a shot on this down or this drive, we're going to take a shot? How does that process go through a coach's mind?
Well, with me, I don't think there's ever a waste down. People say, well, 2nd and 1's a waste down. I just don't believe that. But I think with different coordinators, there are different places to take a shot. Some people aren't going to take a shot inside their 30. You get up to the -40, or you get to the 50, or you cross the 50, and you're willing to take a shot. I think about it a lot. This might be a shot. We're running the ball pretty good, and I'm pretty confident we here on 3rd down that we can get it if we miss on this shot. So let's drop back and let's put one out there and see if we can run under it. So I think of those things, but you have to see where you are in the game and what the situations that have been arising, how you've been handling your opponent that's defending you.
You mentioned it earlier. You were really happy with the way the team came out today, practice, focused. Were you early on in the week, was there a little concern, Coach, coming off the Saturday night performance and everything that has surrounded this program?
I didn't have any concern. We talked on Monday. They have Sunday off. So not being with the coaches on Sunday, they get a whole day to if they want to replay the game in their minds. A lot of them come in and watch the film on their own from Saturday's game, and they come in and they visit with the trainers, and the film is readily available. And so by the time Monday morning comes, they've had over 24 hours to just, let's flush this thing out and let's get the corrections from the coaches. And we got to drive on to Kansas regardless of what have happened the Saturday before. So Tuesday practice, well, we went on Monday, and we went through some basic things, and I thought that went pretty good. And Tuesday practice, we went out there and did what we had to do as far as installing the game plan.
And on Monday, when you get to sit there with the position group and watch the film together, does it ever usually get you fired up watching it as you talking to the players, or do you usually stay calm in the meeting room and just try to make corrections like that?
I try to stay calm and make corrections because it's a meeting room and it's a classroom, and it's supposed to be a learning environment. It's not supposed to be a yelling and screaming environment, and it took me a long time to figure that out. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm calm 100% of the time, but it has to be something pretty egregious to get me to just start speaking in an elevated tone in the meeting room. And we go through the corrections, and I ask, hey, what was your mindset right here? Hey, we talked about this during the game. This is what I saw. Tell me what you saw. You're out there running the ball, so tell me how you're reading this, and tell me what I can do to help you read this better. So, when we're done with that, we're done with that. And it's drive on time, and we're done with today's practice. When we meet about it in the morning, I've already sent them the corrections. I'll show them a couple, 3 plays that need to be corrected, and we'll watch the good stuff in practice, and we'll drive on to what we got to get done tomorrow for Thursday.
Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, Associate Head Coach, Interim Head Coach Norris Wilson with us. This is the Kyle Flood Show coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube, Edison, New Jersey. Hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio, via the phone 855-FLOOD-44. We'll come back, do our final segment. We'll get some keys to the game. What should we look out for when the Jayhawks come into town into Piscataway on Saturday, homecoming weekend? This is the Kyle Flood Show.
At AT&T, we're all about the perks, like getting $300 credit per line when you switch to AT&T with a smartphone trade-in and purchase of any smartphone on AT&T Next. That's 3 perks in 1. Get all the perks when you switch to the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Limited time. Each $300 requires a port-in, eligible purchase, activation, and trade-in. $100 bill credit within 90 days. $200 trade-in credit or promo card. Taxes, fees, restrictions apply. Claim based only on national carriers' average 4G LTE signal strength. See store for details.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Hey, Rutgers season ticket holders, are you tired of sitting on those hard bleachers with no back support? Then we have a deal for you. For a limited time, you can reserve a night cushion for only $60 for the season. That's less than $9 a game. Permanently attached to your ticket location, night cushions provide padded comfort for your back and bottom that's second to none. So don't wait. Visit nightcushion.com. That's nightcushion with a K.com. Or call 800-729-0445 to reserve today.
Honey, did you take care of the party rentals yet?
I drove by Miller's Rentals on Route 1, but it looks like they've closed. We'll have to go someplace else.
No, according to Facebook, Miller's moved to a bigger space at 160 Fieldcrest Avenue in Edison, but their phone number hasn't changed. 732-985-3050.
Great, I'll call now.
Miller's Party Rentals, tents, tables, chairs, linen, staging, and more. Now at 160 Fieldcrest Avenue in Edison. 732-985-3050. Visit MillerRentals.com. Like us on Facebook and receive a discount on your first order. Go Millers!
All right, welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube, Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, associate head coach, interim head coach, Norris Wilson. Coach, Kansas coming to town on Saturday, homecoming weekend. When you look at the Jayhawks, you said you've been impressed with them on film, 0-2 to start the year. Not a team you usually see here in these parts. What are some keys? What do you want to see your team do, establish early on in this game, find a way to get a win?
I want to establish the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I want to stop the run. I want to make them a pass-first team if we can, and then we got to defend the pass if we get that done. On offense, I want us to be able to come out and run the football when we want to run the football, and I want to protect the passer. Now, you just can't come out and say we're going to run it 75 times in a row. Coach McDaniels will do a good job putting us in the right play call. But when we want to run the football, I want to run it effectively, and I want to play a turnover-free football game, a mistake-free football game on offense. We don't want to give the ball away. On defense, we want to take the ball away, and we want to have an effective drive start. We want to be able to start where the odds of scoring are raised tremendously. We want to take the ball away and be on a short field. We want to be great in the kicking game and establish a great field position with our kicking game. Let's get back in our tradition of blocking kicks, and let's get after this team in all three phases.
And, Coach, I don't know how much you guys get to pay attention to, whoever's on the schedule you play, but do you ever look at it, you're playing an out-of-conference opponent from the Big 12. Do you want to show, some Big 10 dominance over the Big 12, stuff like that?
Well, personally, when a team in our league plays out of conference, I root for them,
yep.
Because they represent our league, and I want to make sure that we're a good representative of our league when we play a team that's not in our league, and that's the case this Saturday.
When we talked a lot, and we've had a lot of questions about the quarterback, Chris Laviano. I'm curious, a scenario, situation, when you've seen, is it a case of Hayden having to show more in practice? Is it a case of where Chris is as a quarterback on this team, as a leader on this team? The entire quarterback scenario, because you know this, Coach, there's a lot of Scarlet Knight fans that look at it, and the quarterback position is always in focus, and they're going to say, well, we liked what we saw from Hayden first half against Norfolk State.
Well, the quarterback position garners all the attention from the majority of the fans, except for the parents who are watching their own children. And it's a tough position to play when you're not thriving. If something isn't perfect, there's always someone looking to put the next guy in, regardless of who he is or where he's from. And it's evaluated constantly, and it's a situation where we have to be sure that the person that we're putting out there at quarterback is the person that we believe is the person that's going to give us the opportunity to be 1-0 in that football game. And as it stands right now, it's Chris Laviano.
Fair.
That could change, but as it stands right now, it's Chris Laviano.
And as a coach, how hard does it deal with, people trying to persuade you to do this, or the fans saying you should do that? How do you block that all off?
You have to let it go. You have to flush it and let it go, and you have to trust your own judgment and that you've done the right thing that you think is going to be the most effective for the program.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's been you've done a fantastic hour flew by.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Hiding in the back, Ms. Herman talked about the chief fundraiser for the athletic department. Sarah Baumgartner is hiding in the back. You should make her stand up and raise her hand.
There you go. Very nice. There she is.
There she
Nice.
is.
Well done.
She said she was going to raise enough money for me to get a new truck. I'm still driving the same truck.
Let's give a nice round of applause for interim head coach, associate coach Norris Wilson. Coach, good luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Hey, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
See you Saturday.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
everybody coming out. Really do.
At Quaker Steak and Lube, tremendous job at Edison, New Jersey. Remember, keep hitting us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio and also 855-FLOOD-44 each and every week. And enjoy the game on Saturday. Coach, good luck. Eric, tremendous job as always. And enjoy homecoming this weekend as the Jayhawks come into town to take on your Scarlet Knights.
See you later, Mark.
You've been listening to the Kyle Flood Show, live from the Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network. The Kyle Flood Show has also been brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by Pepsi. Live in the moment. The beat starts at Pepsi.com. Pepsi, live for now.